Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Yes, we're getting up to that time for another Janome Continental Club live. It's wonderful to be with you all. Oh, let me turn this around. So many buttons to push. There we are. Hello, everyone. Hello. It is great to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me live. But if you can't ever join the live, don't worry that these presentations are all saved under the media tab on the Janome Continental Club Facebook page. You can go to the media tab and then you click videos, and then you can even use the search box and you can type in, if you're looking for videos for, Celine Ross, our fabulous Janome Canada educator, or myself, Michael Smith, or any of the presentations you want to learn about ruler quilting, for example, you use that search box and it'll help condense to find all those videos. So it is great to see you all for another, again, Janome Continental Club live. My name is Michael Smith. I'm the National Education Manager of Janome Canada. And yes, I'm back from my palatial estate here to share with you more of the Continental. Now, specifically, I'm on the CM17. But what I'm going to share with you today about the specialty presser feet sewing applications options that's built into all of our Continental machines, whether you've got the M6, the M8, the M7, the Quilter's Collector series of the M7, and now the CM17. So there are, again, more ways to share the Janome love. So let's flip around here to get into it, because yes, the time will fly right by. So our fabulous Janome CM17 here. But again, what we're going to talk about is the specialty presser foot sewing applications. Our machines come with so many options, so many presser feet, so many accessories, but with Janome, there's always more. They really do everything to help you get more from your machines. So here on the Continental series, when we go into our home button, oh, sorry. And then we go to we're going to sewing applications mode. Here we go. And then, yes, then we can go into ordinary sewing, or we can go into our quilting. Basically, sewing applications is the machine asking us, well, what do you want to do? Now, some of our other machines have the sewing applications menu, but they don't have this plus presser foot icon. Now, our 15,000 had it, and I believe Skyline S9 has it. But the other machines with sewing applications, they don't have this option. This is reserved for our top of the line options. So then, yes, this plus presser foot, this is the specialty presser feet available from your Janome dealer. And again, it's the machine has already set up a lot of these preset options. So that way it's faster, it's easier, and there's certainly less mistakes. So we can go through all of these options. And, as we go into our next screen, oh, look, there's room for more. But the one that I wanted to start with was this free motion couching option. So again, if we want to do free motion couching, boom, all we have to do, sewing applications, the extra presser foot here, the plus presser foot option, free motion couching, boom. Now you'll see our machine is already set up. We've got zigzag stitch number 1 and zigzag stitch number 2. Now what those refer to when we get our free motion couching foot set, and again, you'll see it's for memory craft embroidery machines or high shank sewing machines. So regardless of what machine you have, yes, you can use this free motion couching foot set if you have a high shank machine. This won't work for low shank machines, but high shank machines, yes, you can use it. Now, as always, the back of the blister pack, they show you the free motion couching foot here. It looks a lot like the darning foot. It's got a spring there, and it's got 2 different feet. So this is where that option of zigzag 1 and zigzag 2 come in, because we have a foot 1 and a foot 2. And each of them have a little, if you can see, each of them have a little notch in it. And this is a different size. So this is the number 2 foot. and it's got a different size little notch there that we can couch down, which is basically to zigzag yarn down some yarns and trims. Now this is zigzag number 1. Again, it's got a slightly bigger opening, so we can use slightly thicker, bigger yarns. But again, lots of instructions here in the blister pack. We can open them up. Ooh. Now, most importantly, this caution that says do not set for a stitch width of 1.5 or over. We can only go up to 1.5 millimeters wide for our zigzag. Ask me how I know that's important. So again, if you have another machine, a high shank sewing machine, yes, you can use this, but then you're going to have to manually set your machine's zigzag width. And again, it can only be 1.5 or smaller. It can't be any bigger. I made that mistake myself, and boom, sure enough, I broke a needle. So again, the advantage of our fabulous, sophisticated computerized sewing machines here, it's already built in, it's already set up. So here for my stitch width, I can make it smaller, but I can't make it any bigger. The machine won't let me make that mistake. So I certainly appreciate that. That's one reason why, again, we upgrade to these very fancy machines. It helps us do some thinking for us, makes things faster and easier. So here is the free motion couching foot. I'm just going to quickly slip that on. I'm going to go fast and furious because there are so many things to demo today. Drop my foot and tighten up that screw. And essentially, again, just like our darning foot, we have this little bar here at the very top of the foot, and it's going to go over that needle clamp screw, and that's what's going to activate this spring. So the very fun thing, oh, yarn. I don't have time to knit and crochet, but oh yes, we can use all this beautiful yarn to get our yarn fix. Now we can go to the craft store with our free motion couching foot set. There is the part number, by the way. We can take this to the craft store with us and make sure the yarn that we would like to use is going to fit through the little notch here of the foot. So it's good to pick this up from your Janome dealer and then again take it to the craft store. Now I'm going way up here, and you see on my telescoping thread mast here, I have this little hook which comes with the Continental M17, and you may wonder what this is. Well, we use this for embroidery couching, and we just clip it onto our telescoping thread mast here. And whoops, there we go. And what I'm going to do, it's got that little hook. So I'm going to use it, even though I'm not embroidery couching, but I'm still going to use this for my free motion couching to hold my yarn. Because we do not want this yarn, whether we're doing embroidery couching or we're doing couching on our own here with the free motion foot set, we don't want the yarn to pull taut. We want some slack in it. So according to the blister pack, I am putting the yarn here around the back of my foot, and then I'm going to pull it through like that. Now, again, we could also go to our AccuAssist app here for the Continental M17, or if we've got the Continental M8, we could use the AccuSpark 2 app. So what I'm going to do here is I've made myself this little quilt sandwich, and I've divided it up in 4. I've got my backing, my batting, and my quilt top, and I've divided it up in 4, so I'm going to try my little techniques. Again, when you're trying something new, you don't have to use a whole ton of fabric, just use some scraps. And again, I've divided it up, and I'm practicing my free motion couching in this little square. So again, it's very simple and easy to do. We just do whatever kind of motion we want. Again, we want to keep our slackness to the yarn, and we can just go around in whatever kind of shape that we want to do. And if you find your yarn is pulling tight, again, this is where that hook really helps. But if your yarn is pulling tight, again, you just create a little bit of slack here in the bed. And again, you can stitch in whatever kind of configuration you want. It's so simple, so easy. So I will just clip my threads. So then you can see, boom, like again, just in whatever configuration you want. It really adds a lot of texture. Think of your garments, your tote bags, your home deck projects. And then again, it's just a very loose zigzag in the back. But it's really fun technique to do. Now, when you're thinking of, oh, well, I can't draw, I don't know what to do. Well, how about you take your fabric here, and all I did was follow the print of the fabric like that with various yarns. So again, you don't even have to draw. You don't have to worry about being an artist. You just follow the print on your fabric. So this is thicker fabric. It's like a cotton duck fabric, would be great for, again, a pillow for home deck projects. So that is the free motion couching foot set. Again, will fit onto your high shank sewing machines. But the great thing here about, again, these more computerized fancy machines is that we've got the option of this free motion couching foot set already built in to the sewing applications. So we don't have to worry about it. And I knew my needle is going to come unthreaded, but no problem. We just go click, done, period. Don't you love having this built-in needle threader? Is so quick. So that is free motion couching. Boom. Now, if you have some yarn that it's too thick to go into the free motion couching foot set, well, we've got the fabulous Janome beading feet. There is a wide beading foot and a narrow beading foot. Now, they are clear feet. They're the L1 and L2 feet specifically that are lettered up there. That again, there is a groove on the underside of the foot, which allows for beading. So if we're doing bridal or cosplay or skating costumes, beads, look at that. And the zigzag just goes, again, we're couching basically the pearls in this case. And the zigzag just goes to either side of the pearls. There you will see the zigzag. Now, anytime we do these decorative stitches, I always suggest let's use in this case, it's a tearaway stabilizer. Or again, when I had my little quilt sandwich, then I had my batting and my backing. And the, again, batting in between that was acting as the stabilizer. So this way it just helps support these extra stitches. So yes, we could use our string of pearls, or again, maybe we could use, if the yarn is too thick for your free motion couching, maybe we could use, again, you take your foot to the craft store and then you wonder, oh, will that yarn go through? Yes, it'll go through just beautifully. So it's very fun. Let's unlock our machine here, get our regular presser foot holder back on. I always like to drop the foot and then tighten it with the screwdriver just to add a little bit more extra pressure on that. So this beading foot is a drop-in, snap-in foot. So we're just going to snap that on. Now, I did a series way back at the start of the COVID pandemic. I did a series called A to Z with Janome because, you know, all of our Janome presser feet are lettered. So I did A to Z with Janome series on Janome HQ Instagram, but I've uploaded them to the Janome HQ YouTube channel. So go to Janome HQ YouTube and you will find the A to Z with Janome playlist, and where I demoed all of these feet. And of course, you can go to our Janome Life blog as well. And in the regular Janome Sewing Machines Facebook lives that our fabulous Celine Ross does every Tuesday, she did demos of all of these presser feet as well. So again, we're back here in our plus presser foot, our specialty presser foot options. And we can just scroll back to beading, boom. And again, we've got our narrow foot and our wide foot. So I'll click wide. So the preset here is a 4.0 width. Now, because we have 9mm presser feet, and we want to make sure that, again, we get the correct presser feet. So yes, our Continental machines are 9 millimeters. So that means this, we can widen the zigzag stitch in this case. Again, we couldn't do it for the free motion couching foot set, but we can here. So I'll just do it to 7.0. The main thing is you get your yarn, again, take your foot to the craft store, and then you do these little test samples here. Again, I've got the tearaway stabilizer in the back, and you do these samples. Here is my narrow foot at the default of 2.5 width, but then here I adjusted it to 5.0. Now, if I used a matching thread, in this case to this yarn, again, you'd never see it. Here, this is with the wide foot at the 4.0 default, I made it wider to 6.0. And again, it just has slightly different effects to it. But again, you can use, oh yes, like for the narrow foot, a thin yarn, it's more of a flat yarn, or again, a thinner yarn. That again, this is the fun thing. You can have so many fun decorative elements with all these specialty presser feet. So how simple is that? Again, it could be a string of pearls. It could be, in this case, this yarn, that maybe this yarn is going to be too chunky to go into the free motion couching foot set. So instead, we can use it here with, in this case, the wide beading foot. And again, if my yarn, my thread was matching my yarn, you wouldn't even see it. So isn't that cool? So many different options. You can, again, get your yarn fix in many ways if you can't take up sewing and or take up knitting and crocheting. So let me get rid of that. And again, full instructions in the blister pack here. Now, a lady had written in with a tip. She said she saves the cardboard here in a page protector in a binder, but then she throws the plastic away. And I thought that was great. Save the cardboard here. But again, all of our AccuAssist app or the AccuSpark apps contain all this information as well. So there is a wide and a narrow beading foot. Now, in this case, too, again, you think, oh, well, what am I going to do? Well, I have this fabric here. To me, it reminded me of the horizon line or the water line, waves at the beach. So all I did was take various yarn and zigzagged it over, following that lines of the fabric. So again, maybe you embellish your fabric for your quilt or for a tote bag. This could be a garment, later cut into a jacket or make a little zippy pouch. Or what I love using these beading foot, instead of binding, we do a lot of samples here at Janome, and sometimes I can't bind all of the samples. This is just a little placemat. So how about you just zigzag yarn at the edge if you don't want to bind? So that's a very cool alternative. And then for all of these specialty presser feet, what I love doing are these little samples. For example, there's some piping feet options. So I'm going to have to do a second presentation because there are so many extra specialty presser foot sewing applications. There's a piping foot option. There is my free motion couching foot option. There's the three-way cording foot option. That's another sewing application. There's pin tuck feet right here. So I make, again, just little samples, but I've made a sampler, basically, of all of the different sewing applications, just a little sample, so then you can see more of the technique. Now, another of our specialty presser feet options, if you want to sew with vinyl or leather or cork, any kind of sticky fabrics, again, making like a little shaving kit as I did for when I travel, or this is a little wallet, again, out of some vinyl, and sometimes these layers can be very sticky. So what we have as a specialty presser foot option, the fabulous Ultra Glide foot, and again, it says 9 millimeters. So again, any 9 millimeter machine can use this Ultra Glide foot, which is the U foot. And again, I've demonstrated this in the A to Z with Janome series on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. Many Janome Life blogs about this foot. Now, some people mistakenly say it's a Teflon foot. Well, no, Teflon is a registered trademark of the DuPont company. So this is the Ultra Glide foot. It has a special resin. It's not plastic, but it's a special slippery resin that allows us to sew, again, these stickier fabrics, and it glides very easily underneath. So this foot is actually available as well for 5mm and 7mm machines. All of our Continental machines are 9mm, so make sure we grab that. Again, full instructions in the back of the blister pack. And we just simply snap it on, no problem. Boom. Now, also, as an option, let's go into our specialty presser foot option here. And again, let's scroll through, again, as quickly as we see. Yes, we've got the ribbon sequin foot, piping foot, cording foot, pin tuck feet. Again, I'll have to come back and do more. There is the Ultra Glide. So we have some presets, again, of medium thickness, if you've got like a thicker vinyl, thicker leather, or again, lighter. Some suggestions as far as stitch length and width, and presser foot pressure. Now, if you find you're feeding your fabric and there is too much presser foot pressure, we can always lighten it. We're going to reduce it. Now, we can also make those same adjustments here on our CM17. We can make these adjustments as well on this LCD screen, whichever you prefer. Now, just as a little tip, though, when we are doing these thicker layers in particular, these vinyl, these leathers, again, they're not regular fabric. I like lengthening my stitch length. Instead of the usual set at default, in this case, they have it 3.0. They did automatically lengthen it a little more. Usual stitch length is 2.4. I'm going at least to a 3.0, but sometimes we can go up even further, and you may think, oh, no, that's too big. That 5.0, that's like getting into basting territory. But when you look at these samples, if you can see, again, this is at 3.0, the default. I got a little bit of puckering there when I did this stitching, but when I increased it to 5.0, no puckering at all. And again, that stitch does not look exceptionally long. That doesn't look like a basting stitch through this kind of stickier vinyl fabric. So again, consider your stitch length to then make your top stitching. Again, look at that, beautiful. So what I used was this Ultra Glide foot, and again, it helps just feed this layer more easily, but also available for our 9mm machines. And specifically, we need to, 9mm, we need to make sure in our Continental machines, it says Continental M7. At least this is an older packaging, so it'll say Continental M7. The new packaging just says Continental machines. We have an Ultra Glide needle plate that comes with an Ultra Glide foot. So you get the foot and the needle plate combined in this set. But again, for Continental machines, it must say Continental because the needle plates, again, hold down with a magnet. So they are very specific to the Continental line. So here again, this is a resin, a special resin. It looks very similar to our regular needle plate. It's got all the same markings, all the same patented markings, but it's, again, it's a little slipperier. So when we have the fabric, again, this has got a knit fabric, knit backing, so that feeds no problem. But especially if we have like sticky fabric against the needle plate, again, that's where that Ultra Glide needle plate just slides very easily. So that is very good. So again, for Continental machines, there is another one available for 9mm machines that are not Continental. So make sure that you get the correct one. So of course, as time is going by very fast, but I wanted to also demo the applique foot. And again, I'll just have to come back and do more demos for the other feet. The applique foot, again, 9mm, it does come available for 5 and 7mm as well. And the cool thing, again, full instructions, back of the blister pack. There is the part number. And what's really cool about this applique foot. Now, traditionally, when we would do applique, we would use the F foot, the satin stitch foot, or we've got the F2 foot, which is the open toe foot. So we could use the F foot or the open toe F2 foot, but then the applique foot, very similar, you'll see is why I prefer it there. The toes of the F foot or the F2 foot, the satin stitch foot, they're longer toes. They kind of get in the way. Whereas for applique, the AP foot as it is, and again, I demoed this on the A to Z with Janome series on Janome HQ YouTube. It's shorter. There's not these big long toes, and the front of the foot is tipped up. So it's not going to get, you know, stuck on your applique, especially if you've got dimensional applique. If you had a little, this is my applique here, if I had, you know, some batting in here, if it was dimensional, by having this tipped up portion of the foot, again, it's not going to hit into that applique. It's not going to get stuck up on it. So it's clear, we can see through it. It's got these little tick marks at the front that'll help us with our alignment, particularly when we come to turn the corners. Now you'll see I have two little metal bars here. Our typical snap-in feet, you know, have one bar, but then this is very much like our button sewing foot, the T foot, where we snap it in the back of the foot holder first, and then we snap it into this bar here. So on our foot holder, again, I have it snapped into the back, and then I tip up my foot and click it into place like that. So then, yes, when we do our applique, and again, boom. Now in our utility stitches, we have a lot of applique stitches already, but again, it's just faster, it's easier to go into the sewing applications, into the plus presser foot, that's the specialty sewing applications icon. We hit applique, and boom, we have all these applique stitches from which to choose. And again, all these presets, all these defaults are set. It just makes it so much faster and easier. Now we can still go in and manipulate things like, yes, our stitch width. In this case, if we wanted to make like this blanket stitch bigger, we could adjust our stitch length. We can adjust the needle drop position, the presser foot pressure. We can do all of that still as we can up here. And whenever we're adjusting any of these settings and then we think, oh no, I just want to go back to normal, well, we just hit default. We don't have to remember what anything was. So again, it's just the machine doing some thinking for us. We already have so many things on our mind. Let's let the machine do some work for us. So in this applique foot, and again, because it is clear, I can see perfectly, and it's got these little tick marks at the front of the foot, so I can see perfectly where the edge of my applique is, where my needle is swinging. And especially I love this more, again, it's a smaller profile foot. I really like it when I'm getting up to the corner and I'm going to turn the corner. It just helps me see that corner. And whenever we do our applique, in this case, this blanket stitch in particular, we want to make sure we turn the corner with the needle over to the right. We don't want to stop with the needle to the left. We want to stop with the needle to the right and then pivot and turn the corner. I think I can do one more stitch like that. Then we can raise our foot. Boom, that needle is right on that edge. Now, as well as a little tip, when we're going to turn that corner, we can go over here to, this is the start over key, basically. So we can start over, boom, right at the start of that whole stitching sequence. So we don't have to remember where is the stitches. Are they going to go back? Are they going to go forward? Where are they going to go? We just hit that start over key and away we go. So it's that simple, that easy to do. Boom. So that is our applique foot. And again, look at how beautiful that is. Look at that beautiful stitching right on the edge. It works out so well. Now, again, the tearaway stabilizer. Now, when you're doing your applique and all your little samples, again, you just cut up some fabric, and here I've got applique number 1. Then I've experimenting with my needle drop position, and look at, it's the same stitch, but it is made more wide. I've changed the needle drop position so it's bigger. And again, we write this all down on your little sample here. So it just makes it so much faster and easier. So that in a big whirlwind is some of your specialty presser foot sewing applications, and in this case our fabulous CM17. But oh yes, we have more, and again I'll have to come back and do more, but also on the Janome HQ YouTube channel, the Janome Awesome Accessory Countdown, the ruffler foot, for example. Ooh, as a little sneak peek, there is the ruffler. And again, we've got our pin tuck feet and our ribbon sequin foot. How about ruffles? So yes. Now, sure, this flat piece of fabric, well, that's already beautiful on its own, but isn't this much more, ooh, much more fancy, much more beautiful? And all it is was the ruffler that I used. It is so simple. Now, it looks so confusing, but again, it's really quite simple to use. You've got full instructions in your blister pack. You've got the instructions in your AccuAssist app for the CM17. You've got your AccuSpark for Continental M7. You've got your AccuSpark 2 for Continental M8. And again, our fabulous Celine has demoed this too. Lots of Janome Life blogs. But yes, we've got, you know, again, pin tuck feet and everything. So we'll just have to come back and do more. There's always more with Janome. So let me flip around very quickly and say hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. It's always such a whirlwind. There's always so much that I want to do. So again, we'll just have to come back and do more. So thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. Have a fabulous day. Bye.